So, welcome to the SmartAgriHubs webinar about our new open call, the Prepare Open Call. So, welcome. My name is Harald Sundmaeker, and I would like to guide you through the webinar. We planned 1 hour. I will make a presentation about, let's say, the most, I would say, important facts, what we think might be interesting to know. I will also say some words about our other open calls and what is the relation from the Prepare to the other open calls. And also specifically at the end of the session, we are also open for discussion. So please then put questions in the chat. You know, you have the chat window, and then also the colleagues, our colleagues, so Lorena and Karim, will also support that. Thank you very much for this. And then we will also go to your questions. So, however, welcome. It's a pleasure for welcoming you here for this webinar. And what I want to do now is to give you a short introduction of the project. Possibly a majority, I don't know, already heard about the SmartAgriHubs, but I will make a short recap on the project. I will also explain a little bit the focus of the open call, then of course the timing, and specifically focusing on the Prepare open call. As I said, I will also highlight 2 examples for Restart and Expand, that you also see, let's say, the relation between those open calls. And of course, I will give some links to, let's say, support, also to internet-based resources that you can also access after the webinar. So who's SmartAgriHubs? For those which did not yet learn so much about the project, so we are a 48-month project. We are now more or less in the middle of this project. We are funded by the RTD program of the European Commission, and the partners are from all over the European Union. And you could say we are a kind of network of innovation networks. Therefore, I was just putting here some key facts of the project. I won't go to all the details there. However, therefore, I put the red rectangle around the open calls topic. We dedicated 6 million euro, nearly 6 million euro to open calls. And these we will offer via different open calls, like the Prepare one we opened last week on Thursday on the 18th. What are we addressing? So it's about digital transformation, digital innovation. As we know, quite a lot of things are happening, especially most recently in the last years, more and more. We are talking about a lot of potentials from different technologies. On last week, we also had with another project where I was opening also this open call with the IOF, Internet of Food and Farm project. We were focusing on IoT. Nowadays, we are talking a lot about AI, about big data. So many topics where usually we're talking about decision making for business, for consumers, especially also about food integrity. Then it's also about public decision making. So we have also, it's not just the agri-food sector itself. We are also having, let's say, collaboration and potential towards health, towards especially then finally to the consumer. And when we're looking on the different technologies, well, all the buzzwords are going around in the moment, as I said before, Internet of Things, but cloud computing, artificial intelligence, big data analytics, blockchain technology. But often the people are asking themselves, so what? And I think there we are at that point of a kind of innovation dilemma. I think there are quite some organizations, quite some stakeholders, which are very well knowledgeable about those technologies in the sector. And however, others are, it's not that they're possibly not knowledgeable, but also the question is, okay, there are nice innovations, but what's about the costs? What's about the benefits? And what are the potential pitfalls? So what should I do? What should I not do? And I think that's this innovation developer dilemma, that I'm unsure of what shall I really do? Where shall I really invest? Where shall I look at? And that's really this thing. Also in the SmartAgriHubs project, there are a lot of organizations which have quite some track record in research and innovation. And as we also observe, and let's say it's a common fact that going from research and innovation to development and commercialization of such solutions is always a challenge. And in the startup business, the people are talking about the valley of death. Therefore, I was putting here this, let's say, curve. So we are doing a lot in research innovation. So we see quite some potentials. Then we see the Gartner hype cycle and so on about technologies. But then the question is, how can we bring all those potentials to reality? And that is also the point where SmartAgriHubs is standing and saying, yes, our strategic objective at the very end is that we want to build a network and a community for digital transformation. That how can we bring people together? And when we are talking about this innovation dilemma, how can we bring the people together and facilitate the knowledge about learning about those pitfalls, learning about the costs, learning really about the potentials? What will it bring in a typical setting for me? And how can I really access those contexts? And therefore, in SmartAgriHubs, we are talking about different kind of stakeholders, different or specific kind of organizational forms. And there we are highlighting, on the one hand, the digital innovation hubs. And those digital innovation hubs are also in our open calls really a central element, because we think those organizations or those teams can really facilitate the innovation in the sector. Because if we are realizing kind of innovation experiments, so that's more or less the term we are using in SmartAgriHubs for realizing digital transformation, digital innovation in the sector. And such an innovation experiment, yeah, you can see it as a project. And this is assembling end users, innovation providers, and which are really targeting at a digital transformation, at an innovation in their specific field where they are active in the agri-food sector. And then we see also those competence centers. And because there we were differentiating between digital innovation hubs and competence centers. What do we understand under competence centers? Those organizations which are very, very much specialized on certain technologies, like what we were just putting there, some buzzwords on robotics, big data, IoT, artificial intelligence. We think there are some research organizations, innovation players, which have really very specific expertise, and that is really something where you can say, yeah, there I have like in university or something like this. If I have really a challenge that I need to have the latest knowledge about that, then I think those competence centers are really the key to contact, so that the innovation experiment gets the latest status of the state of the art from them. While the digital innovation hub, we also see as a kind of regional contact point, that they can really, that they are not far away, that if I want to do such digital transformation in the sector, that I do not need to search a lot, but I know, yes, there and there and there, I have a network of those digital innovation hubs. I can contact them. There's no language barrier, and they can really help me with certain services. And therefore, those digital innovation hubs are the focus of our open calls, that because we see that this network of digital innovation hub can really facilitate the digital transformation in Europe. And that's in the open calls. We want to strengthen the cooperation and network structures. So meaning, how can we really bring those different teams together? And we see there that the digital innovation hubs play really a key role in that. And therefore, what we are doing, we're funding the digital innovation hubs themselves. So now I was talking a lot about digital innovation hubs. One could have the impression a digital innovation hub is now an organization. I need to establish an organization to become a digital innovation hub. No, in contrary. A digital innovation hub for us, for our definition, is a role. So I could, of course, establish an organization to say, now I'm my organization is a digital innovation hub, but we see, and also that's our experience, that there are quite a lot of organizations out there which are providing different innovation services, which is a kind of portfolio of services. And therefore, if your organization is offering this, possibly also other things, you can also represent this role as a digital innovation hub. And that's more or less this kind of new movement also in the European Union, also not just in agri-food. So if you're looking at manufacturing and other sector business domains, there you will also see those digital innovation hubs and also supporting schemes for that. And therefore, this slide is not very specific to agri-food, but really tries to identify certain services of digital innovation hubs. And what we say also in our open calls, that we are supporting digital innovation hubs. So you do not need to offer everything. And it's also a matter of what is really required from your perspective. What is your strategy? Possibly you're saying, oh yeah, I'm providing this or that service. Well, I'm offering certain training for skills and education. Then I'm helping companies on contracts, but also I have some environments for testing and validation. So, and that's also up to you. If you are a digital innovation hub or want to establish a digital innovation hub, it's up to you to design your service portfolio, definitely. And that's also our viewpoint. It's not that we are defining how your digital innovation hub must look like, but we think it's also your choice and also the needs in your region. And the regions are quite different when we're looking at this. And that is also true to innovation experiments. There's not a specific size or a specific setting of innovation experiments. We rather, and that is also the nature of Smart Agri-Hubs, also what we want to understand to see what is really required in the different regions and what also works best. We also, as a project and as a community, want also to get feedback of what is really working in the different regions. Therefore, digital innovation hubs, where we are providing our funding to, we see them as a kind of regional partner for innovation. Therefore, a digital innovation hub, so if it's funded via our open calls, can support the innovation experiment preparation and realization for free. And it's also here the idea that those digital innovation hubs are offering the services and that they can get funded by Smart Agri-Hubs. The teams which really need this support, that they need not to pay a digital innovation hub for this. And this we also see, and from our experience in the last month and years, we see also digital innovation hub as a node of a European innovation network. And we also got the feedback from quite several digital innovation hubs that they said this network is really opening collaboration schemes and even funding schemes for them to have also the let's say an easier collaboration on a regional, interregional, national and international basis. And especially this, it's also here the objective of Smart Agri-Hubs. Therefore, the open call focus is really on the development, setup, offering, provision, test, and validation of digital innovation hub services. That you can really also for yourself, for your digital innovation hub, try out what really works best. What is really needed in our region, and how can we really improve that? And from our side, we want to support that in the open calls with funding. We are funding the cost of digital innovation hubs by 70 or 100%. 100% for non-profit organizations. And as said before, we do not want to have a very specific maturity of a digital innovation hub. It's rather so if you are just a new digital innovation hub, you're saying, yes, that is the concept which really fits my organization, which really fits here our environment and the potential stakeholders we want to support. Or if you are already a very mature digital innovation hub, everybody is very welcome in our open calls. Of course, you shall also explain what you are planning to do. Because when the external experts are evaluating the proposals, they also want to understand why are you doing what you are doing and what are you offering with your Digital Innovation Hub. And therefore, I think it's very important that also the evaluators get an idea of what is really this path, what are the stakeholders, and what do you really want to achieve? Because at the other side, we also want to understand how will you develop, let's say, those services on the medium to long term. Also, if, for instance, such open calls are not existing anymore, what are you doing afterwards? Is it just that you're saying, yes, we would like to have this funding, and then we're done? Or, and that is, of course, also our motivation about having a sustainable community, having a sustainable network of organizations in Europe. And therefore, also from our side, of course, it's very much appreciated if you have also a medium to long-term strategy, that you're saying, yes, we want to build up those services besides our other operation in the organization, but we see that such kind of digital innovation hub services would bring something for the community. So that is the basic idea. So now, I already announced in the very beginning that I want to talk about more or less all 3 open calls, which are in the moment open, because I also would like to give today a little bit guidance. What is the difference of those open calls? As I was already talking about, it's at the very end, we want to support the realization of innovation experiments. While therefore, at the very beginning, we need to ask ourselves, so do I have any idea about innovation experiments? So do I know which stakeholders in my region would like to do something, like also when I'm setting up such a digital innovation hub approach? So what are really the needs? Which stakeholders I can bring together? So, and if there's possibly not so much ideas already available, then an opportunity might be to make a hackathon, a datathon, or a challenge. And for that, we opened the call Restart. This open call is supporting digital innovation hubs in preparing and organizing hackathon type of activities or events. So hackathons, datathons, and challenges. While all the efforts which are in relation to the preparation of such events, as we know, we need to define all topics. We need to bring the stakeholders also in preparation at one table. We need to also prepare, for instance, for a datathon. We need to prepare the data. We need to prepare infrastructures and so on and so on. There's quite some effort. And therefore, with this idea, and also yesterday we had a workshop in the regional cluster Northeastern Europe. Also there are some digital innovation hubs were presenting their results also from hackathons, and really excellent results and key performance indicators they were showing on how many people were joining, and even the follow-up teams were entering acceleration programs. So this is really the, let's say, the movement we would also like to start with such kind of activities, because we also see with this, and we had also in Bulgaria in the past, we had hackathons with some colleagues, and they also were considering this as a kind of kickstart for such a movement for digital innovation transformation in the region, even bringing people together that they can talk and they can really start this innovation process in the region. And we had really very positive feedback from quite a lot of events that they were saying, yes, this is really bringing the people more together, and this can also represent a kind of kickstart of such innovation programs in the region. So, okay. However, if I see now, yes, these are the kind of innovation experiments which might be very relevant for my region, and here we shall do something, then always the question is, what is about the team? Do I have already the appropriate team, the right stakeholders, the right solution providers, the right end users? Where are open questions? And what is also with, let's say, the effort which needs to be invested in an innovation experiment, so, or possibly additional third-party funding, which I need. So do I have already all those settings? If I say no, not yet, the new open call, which we started last week, comes into play. Therefore, the prepare open call is specifically for preparing innovation experiments. that I can really organize the teams and settle the finances, the resources, and really set up kind of also proposals. Also to our other open call, that you can also, the digital innovation hubs can also be supported for the realization. So prepare open call is more or less for defining, organizing, and settling the resources for innovation experiments. Oops, other way, exactly. And then if I know, yes, this kind of innovation experiment or innovation experiments. So as I said before, there's no specific size where we said an innovation experiment shall be this or that specific size. If you're saying, yes, there shall be a lot of small ones or very specific large ones. So I think you need to determine what is really most appropriate for your region and your stakeholders. And therefore expand open call, that's for this full innovation experiment process where you're really bringing the stakeholders, and the Digital Innovation Hub is supporting this process and really more or less coordinating also this kind of initiative. Therefore, also when we are talking now in terms of funding, the Restart open call, there we are talking about maximum 60,000 euro of funding. While Restart, it's either one digital innovation hub or also several ones which are organizing such initiatives. And especially nowadays, of course, if we're talking about hackathons, datathons, challenges, it's possibly not anymore so much, especially in the pandemic, about physical events, but also online events. And we also saw quite some examples for that in the last month, which worked quite well. So max 60,000 euro if it is one or several digital innovation hubs. Then for prepare, this is really this kind of preparing, let's say, a proposal also to for instance, for the expand open call. There we would give 20,000 euro on a lump sum basis for preparing especially all this organization. And at the very end, expand. There's also the idea that one or several digital innovation hubs are proposing such a project in their proposal to start this full process, and up to 500,000 euro if there are several digital innovation hubs involved. They can ask for together for up to 500,000 euro. And therefore, I was putting also those arrows on the slide. We can say that from Restart, it might make sense to go then first to prepare, then really to sit down and preparing also a proposal for expand, or from Restart directly preparing a proposal to expand, or saying, yes, now I did my setting, all the, let's say, definition of the team, of the innovation experiments, and also resources, and then I'm making a proposal for expand. So I think different ways are possible, and therefore that's our overall setting of open calls in SmartAgriHubs at the current moment. Now, about the open calls, I was also listing, there was the Respond open call in the last year. This was the first initiative in the pandemic. We said, yes, we shall do something immediate. This is closed. Projects are finalized, and quite a lot of things happening there. 13 hackathon type of activities happening there, hackathons and challenges and so on. So very interesting, I must say. And then Restart. It's also taking into account the COVID-19 effects. Prepare, which is this new open call in the middle, and then expand. And as I said, identify ideas for innovation experiments, define and prepare innovation experiments, and then support the innovation experiment realization. And in terms of timing, the Restart open call is open until September this year. And expand, we will also extend, possibly to those who already took care for our previous communication. So we will change some dates on that. This is an early announcement on that. We will change some dates on the, let's say, closure dates. And those closure dates means that you are able to submit a proposal. It's a continuous submission scheme, and at certain deadlines, we're making evaluations. So the next deadline for evaluation for all the 3 open calls is May 26, 5 o'clock Brussels time. After May 26, you still are able to submit, restart, and expand proposals, still open. That's just for them, the deadline for batch evaluation. However, for prepare, that's the final deadline. Prepare is only open from last week, 18th of March this year, until May 26th this year. Then prepare is closed. To be very clear, only one possibility to submit a proposal for prepare. Therefore, that needs to be very clear. Therefore, I would like to go now on the details of the prepare open call. The prepare open call, as I explained before, it's preparation of 1 or more innovation experiments. And the funding is for digital innovation hubs, 70 or 100% of the costs. Of course, not prices, it's about costs. And 100% is for non-profit organizations. So there were also some questions concerning such costs, rates, and so on. Also in the SmartAgriHubs forum, you will find more information on such things. However, maximum 20,000 euro funding on a lump sum basis. What does it mean? We define certain results we expect, and there you see at the bottom of the slide, you see payment based on delivery of results. This means what we want to have is compilation of an appropriate team of organizations. So who shall do finally the innovation experiments? So also a kind of, well, we ask ourselves, what is the best term to describe that? If you're addressing an innovation experiment, it's about certain technologies, certain enablers, that you also make then analysis of the technology readiness level, that you are really thinking, yes, we want to do this and that, that you're also thinking, especially in this situation with this technology, does it really make sense, and analyzing, well, could this be feasible somehow? A kind of assessing feasibility and technology readiness level. Then also, of course, you should do a budget planning for realizing the innovation experiment. And it's not just about budget, to be clear on that. An innovation experiment is a lot also about efforts, that the partners are investing their efforts in realizing such an innovation experiment. The end users, the technology and solution providers, quite a lot of different organizations which need to invest their efforts, which we count also on this basis of budget, and also in-kind contribution, of course. If I want to do technology innovation, then of course I need to have certain infrastructures, I need to have some machineries, equipment, and also that is, of course, shall be taken into account when doing the budget effort planning for realizing the innovation experiment. Of course, then please also project plan consisting in 1 or more innovation experiments. As I said before, if you think you want to aim at 1 larger innovation experiment, do that. If you think, yes, I want to have a program, possibly also for smaller ones, where we have very, let's say, dedicated innovation experiments, and where you want also to learn on a larger scale and a larger number in your region to specific stakeholders. So also this is possible. Just what you think. So we are very open to also new ideas. Therefore, I was putting the picture there, think outside the box. So it's not that we want to really define your innovation experiments, also up to you. And finally, of course, as a result for prepare, signed letter of intent by the main participants in an innovation experiment, that you also think, yes, that is the team that shall go. And based on those results, the idea would be that you can go for the expand open call, because the expand open call will be still open. Also, if your proposal would be selected inside prepare. We are, so 26th of May, the call closes. Then we think on evaluation and contract negotiation. We have 4 weeks, we think. And after that, you could start. And then for the next batch evaluation of proposals in expand, this would be in September, we are planning in the moment. You could then prepare a proposal. also for expand, find the right team, and so on. And then you can also continue with the, let's say, supporting such an innovation experiment realization. So also coming back to the figures, as I said, over the thumb, so max 20,000 euro funding on a lump sum basis. Of course, you can also say, no, we want 10,000 euro, what you think it's best, but it's for us that you are determining, well, 10, 15, 20,000 euro, what would make sense? What is the effort also required to support the team in realizing that? And then we are assigning internally from the reserved budget for open calls of Smart Agri-Hubs, we are assigning 1.2 million euro. This would mean in the maximum case of 20,000 euro, up to 60 teams could be supported. And via, let's say, this scheme, our basic motivation is that the use of digital innovation hub services can be offered for free. So that other stakeholders in the region can use your services from a digital innovation hub for free. That's the basic thinking. Now, these are, let's say, the overall plans concerning the prepare open call. Now, concerning a proposal, it's not very complicated to make a proposal for the prepare open call. What we are saying, the main part of the proposal is max 2 pages of text. That's it. 2 pages you need to prepare, saying, explain your idea, what you want to do. So what kind of innovation experiments we want to prepare. So what is the expected impact for the stakeholders, the region, and what is also the support approach in defining the innovation experiments. So also what is your approach as Digital Innovation Hub? A short description of your Digital Innovation Hub that also the evaluators get an understanding what is your strategy more or less, and then shortly the supported organizations. Then what we are also asking is an optional page with a figure, because we also mentioned that the external experts can way easier understand your plans if you're graphically presented. What are the main, let's say, the milestones or the outcomes? What is the timing? How fits this all together? And usually it's way easier to understand this in a graphic. But feel free how you would like it. You need not to do it, but also from experience, it is that evaluators are feeling more convenient and understand proposals way easier with such a figure. And then shortly listing on an additional page, so the budget, the milestones and work steps. That's more or less straightforward. That's not the main work. And then, of course, we would like to know who's the Digital Innovation Hub. Just 1 page saying who you are, and at the very end, submitting the proposal via the proposal submission system. That is the idea here. More or less then the text and the pages you have here, saving as PDF, and then please submit it. Also, please take care of not linking like pages, figures in the internet. We also had cases in the past like that. Please put it in the PDF, because it's very difficult in an open call procedure to say, oh yeah, and then somebody, especially on a fixed deadline, because then you could change whenever you like, and this would not be eligible. Any stuff which is not submitted until the deadline, May 26, 17 hours Brussels time, cannot be taken into account for evaluation for the prepare open call. Just to be clear on that, because very normal, we have to follow the normal, let's say, guidelines also from the European Commission, which are also more or less in relation our contract we have with the European Commission. We just need to follow those guidelines. What we also prepared in the team in Smart Agri-Hubs is this overview. I don't want to go here in the details. It's just that I wanted to show also this chart. As I said, with the open calls, we are supporting with money. We are supporting the Digital Innovation Hub, so with funding. However, we also see the benefit for technology providers and users, as well as for competence centers. And therefore, sometimes there are questions, so what shall I do now? Therefore, we were trying more or less to put the main points in this chart. And also, how shall I do it? More or less, let's say, this kind of yes. We see this as also as a kind of teamwork, where we also see that a digital innovation hub can take their lead. And also on the other hand, if you are not a digital innovation hub, also do not want to establish a digital innovation hub, if you're a technology provider, an end user, then please contact digital innovation hubs, either in your region or also in other areas. You will also be able, via the SmartAgriHubs website, to find digital innovation hubs, contact them, ask them for their support. So therefore, I like to give this overview of, let's say, who, what, and how. Of course, there might be several additional detailed questions. Then, of course, we will also offer you the possibility to contact us for further questions. Again, I just wanted to highlight, in contrary to prepare fixed deadline call, one time end, restart and expand. It was opened last year in July. It is open since then, and it's evaluation and batches. So every 2 or 3 months, we will do an evaluation until the closure of the open calls. So that is the current status there. I was also putting in this presentation a short example when we are talking about restart. And I don't want to go so detailed. We are recording this webinar, and you can also have later on a look at those examples to leave also some times for questions. But this is, for instance, if you are, for instance, want to offer an online innovation services, preparing events like hackathons, datathons, challenges, involving the supporters, reach out to new target groups. These are all, let's say, ideas and how to realize that. And for that, we are really, we want to offer the support at the very end, also to settle this innovation environment, bring the stakeholders at one table in your region. That is really this motivation of the restart open call, what we want to do here. And also with the expand, it's also there, bringing on the one hand the digital innovation hub really as a coordinator, as supporter of those innovation process. Like also if solution providers would like to test, validate an innovation, and often also teams, we also had often the discussion with startups that they are saying, yeah, how can I really access the appropriate end users? And there we also see Digital Innovation Hub in this role of matching the different stakeholders with each other, helping them, and in all this process really leading them for being able to make an innovation experiment. And also, well, often there comes the question, oh, I'm a competence center. Can I make a proposal? Also, a competence center is a role, to be clear on that. If a competence center, there we see you have a very specific competence, for instance, on robotics. You're saying, yes, I have here a milk robot experience, and there we are really excellent on drones or on whatever. However, if you are anyway also offering project coordination support, access to validation structures, facilitating preparation of proposals, then I would see that those kind of services are not really the competence center kind of services. These are rather competencies of a digital innovation hub. And nothing against that, an organization is also wearing two hats. That you are on the one hand a competence center with your very specific technological competence, or on the other side, you are a digital innovation hub. It's a role. Be very clear on that. It's a role. And we are not asking for a certification process, or the only thing what we are asking for, that you are registering yourself in the SmartAgriHubs portal as a digital innovation hub. We have there also an overview. I will also show it on a later slide. There's no specific certification process. It is rather that you are saying, yes, I want to do this. I'm presenting then my strategy, and then the evaluators will evaluate in the proposals if they think that this is appropriate to the open call. Therefore, it's a lot about balancing. As I said, there are different roles, there are different teams, there are different, so quite something. And of course, if you never heard about that, that might be a little bit, in the first moment confusing. And we also know it's something new. And therefore, I want to repeat again, it's the Digital Innovation Hub that's rather a supportive coaching role supportive coaching role, offering of service provision, SmartAgriHubs is funding either by 70 or 100%. The other thing, realizing an innovation experiment, all the groundwork, the effort, and so on, which might be 80% of the cost. Why meaning cost means costs, investments, equipment, in-kind contribution, work effort, and all that. And this is nothing which is going through the books of a digital innovation hubs, but this is rather a KPI, which we would also like to know. What did you really support? What did you mobilize in terms of your innovation experiment? So, therefore, I also put a slide on the Restart and Expand open calls. Also there, the effort of an digital innovation hub is funded by 70 or 100%, or the costs. If it's for effort, investment, or whatever you think is required for realizing such a project. And at the same time, the other stakeholders realizing, for instance, an innovation experiment can use your services for free. That's more or less the thinking. One digital innovation hub could ask for maximum 100,000 euro in total from SmartAgriHubs. That's our basic rule, where we are saying, yes, we want to have quite a number of digital innovation hubs, and we limited the maximum total funding overall proposals you are involved in, respond, restart, expand, prepare, at 100,000 euro funding, 100,000 euro funding. And again, restart, it's up to 60,000 euro per project, and expand up to 500,000 euro per project. At the same time, we are offering quite some support also from the SmartAgriHubs community. We have a network map. There you will see on this website. This is just a screenshot I put in I took in the morning, with all the organizations overall Europe, which are already in this network. You can contact there. Then also there's a agricultural technology navigator, also for organizations offering, like competence centers specifically offering their expertise. You can go to the SmartAgriHubs portal, that you can also edit the competencies after you registered your organization. You can also edit the competencies of your organization, that also others can find you more easily. Then we are also offering a digital innovation hub maturity self-assessment. This is also a tool that you are getting more aware of where you are as a digital innovation hub. At the same time, in the portal, we have some pages about webinars, online courses, where you can really get support from different from SmartAgriHubs, but also from other projects. Therefore, our portal is open, not just for SmartAgriHubs. Also, other projects are advertising their outcomes and their webinars and so on. And we also have the forum, where you can also have this exchange with discussions. Therefore, I was also now putting a slide on the innovation services maturity model. So you can make a maturity self-assessment. So it's about 30 minutes that you are getting a little bit more aware, thinking left, right, where am I, that you are also reflecting on the strategy. That is the idea of this tool. It's not for certification, it's rather for learning and also exchanging with others. That also, we want also here to have some review mechanisms, review yourself, and also, let's say, get in contact with other digital innovation hubs to learn from each other, because we very much think it's a learning exercise. Also, what we are preparing now, the colleagues are working now on some online courses, also even a kind of academy, call it like that, that you can also enter then, making there some courses. Also here, it's just a first design screenshot on that. As we were indicating there, in June, we are starting there, for instance, with the first courses. Also, like we listed here, the proposal writing for innovation experiments. Also, on the one hand, Expand Open Call is supporting the innovation experiments. Therefore, for that, but this might also be very valid for other projects. And because we are also open that if you are, let's say, attracting funding resources in other projects, this is also compatible with the Expand Open Call. So therefore, we think that's really how can we make most out of such initiatives. So that's this. Then, like webinars already now available in the SmartAgriHubs portal, quite something available. And what I wanted also to highlight, yes, it's not just from SmartAgriHubs, also other projects, also other initiatives are offering their content, their webinars via the portal. So it's open. Also, you can offer, just as I said, please register before email, password, that's it. It does not cost anything. It's just, let's say, that you can also actively contribute to the community. That is there the idea. Also the forum. Just also this morning I took a screenshot. If you have specific questions, either I will end in one slide. Then I'm done with my presentation. Then also the floor is yours, that you can put some questions in the chat that we can also directly answer your questions. But the forum is also a tool where we have here different topics. Also the open call, you can go there, either add your questions to an existing topic or add a new one. And then we will also one by one answer that. And this is something where also the other registered users can look at, and that we can also clarify questions directly on a one-to-one basis at the forum. And also other that we are also presenting there. We now just we launched some weeks ago also something about investors financing. We are working in the background. How can we also, let's say, offer their stakeholders, which are there searching for potential ideas, what they can support. Then it's about our regional clusters, which are working together. There are some internal groups inside the project, which are not public. However, then you see it, some things are locked. If it's closed groups inside the project, but most stuff in the forum are open. Also, let's say results from hackathons, datathons, you see there at the bottom. This is also from the Respond Open Call, where you also see what happened there, where did those hackathons took place, and where can I have a look. So also presenting this, and again, just for remembering, yes, this is our current overview, and therefore, please plan your participation in SmartAgriHubs. You are really invited, very much welcome. Therefore, from the overall funding, we really over 25% we reserved for new members and new collaboration, and it's really about a community. That's the basic idea of also SmartAgriHubs, really not just to look on the technology. It's not just about technology validation. It's really for building up a community, a network of how can we really facilitate digital transformation in the agri-food sector. So therefore, these are the open calls. These are the maximum funding values. And this is somehow, let's say, the relation of the open calls, what I explained earlier. And finally, I wanted to put this slide where you can also get then more information on our website. Of course, all the open calls are also defined in some documents. You can also download via our website. What I said before in the Restart and Expand open call, we will make soon some changes to the dates. However, this is no, let's say, impact on the May 26th deadline. But we are prolonging the final deadline, which was there before. So we had this opportunity to do that. Therefore, feel free to look at our website. And if there are some questions, then please also feel free to contact us. So therefore, I would like to say I'm done with my slides. And then I would also like, we have at least 10 minutes. Of course, if there are more questions, I can also stay longer. Then please also use the chat to put your questions, and I would be very happy to answer your questions.
Hi, Harald. We have a question. What kind of innovation experiments could be accepted apart from hackathons and datathons?
So I did not hear you, Karim, because due to energy settings, my loudspeakers were switching off.
Okay, I'll repeat the question. So what kind of innovation experiments could be accepted apart from hackathons and datathons?
Hackathons and Datathons are no innovation experiments, to be very clear on that. The Restart Open Call is for hackathons and Datathons. And there we are specifically supporting such kind of initiatives for organizing hackathons, Datathons, challenges, or similar kind of initiatives. The Expand Open Call is supporting innovation experiments. And these are kind of settings where there are technology providers, there are end users, some experts and competence centers, and the Digital Innovation Hub supporting all this realization. And this would be realized as a kind of, we had examples, for instance, they were like yesterday presenting the water irrigation strategies for certain fields with new technologies, with new observations, or then there were drone topics where you are monitoring the field combined with some soil measurements, that you're getting new strategies on how you can better, let's say, control all the, let's say, growing, seeding, and so on process. Then there was some technology for beehives that also about certain measurements on environmental data that also the stakeholders can analyze what is going on there in a beehive. And so there are quite a number of topics. Please also have a look at the SmartAgriHubs website, smartagrihubs.eu. There we will have, we have a page about innovation experiments, and you can go there and have a look at those innovation experiments. These are quite large ones. These are not small ones. These are really large ones. And but of course, also smaller ones are possible. I hope that this is answering the question.
Then we have a question from VRL asking what type of organization, DIH or CCs or else, can submit proposal for the prepare call?
For the prepare call, as I said, digital innovation hubs can submit a proposal, period. Who is the digital innovation hub? As I said, a digital innovation hub is a role. We are not saying you are establishing an organization as a digital innovation hub. A digital innovation hub is a role. Your organization is saying, yes, we want to support, we want to offer such services as in the role of a digital innovation hub. Then your organization, so the prerequisite is that you're going to the SmartAgriHubs website, that you're registering your organization in the role of a digital innovation hub. That's all. That's all. And then, of course, in your proposal, you shall explain what is your strategy, what you want to offer, and explain what you want to do as a digital innovation hub. But there is this, let's say, loose coupling of a digital innovation hub as a role and an organization. And there is no specific, let's say, definition for this organization.
Thank you for this answer. Another question from Rebecca. How many applications can one organization make across all the open calls?
We have no limit on applications. So how many you like in principle. However, what we said, selection for funding, you can only have in those calls. We said in the beginning 2 contracts with a prepare open call. We said now 3, because we said, well, because there were quite some organizations involved before for the Respond open call, but we wanted also there to be open. Organizations were involved there. They could also submit a proposal for the Prepare open call, and then also an additional, or not just proposal you can submit. Well, we do not put a limit on the proposals, but for contracts selected for funding, you could also then be selected for funding in the Expand open call. Also, that is possible.
Thank you for that. Next question. Is the funding open call, is the funding open to Canadian companies, or you prefer European-based organization?
Thank you very much for this question. It's European funding, and Canada, well, don't nail me down now. I don't think that Canada is an associated country to the European Union. The normal countries which are eligible for European funding in research and innovation projects. That is more or less the rules. We are just applying the rules of the European Union. I don't think that Canada will be really eligible for funding. So therefore, we're just using the same rule as for usual EC projects. And that's more or less, of course, the European Union and the associated countries as well. If this is not clear still for you, then please drop me a question in the forum, and then I will check it in detail. What is the latest list on that? But I'm doubtful. Please don't nail me down. But we can check that.
Okay, thank you. Next one. So it is, the question is, we want to create a framework to help agri-food companies find the best innovation solutions to solve certain challenges. The framework is not technology driven, but process business driven. Would this idea could be accepted as an innovation experiment?
Sounds interesting. Sounds interesting. It's always a little bit, let's say, answering such questions from the scratch because it can become complicated. However, it sounds interesting. It might be really very valuable for our open calls. And as we said, it shall be about digital transformation and facilitating that. And like this, I interpret it as a kind of, you would, let's say, set up services which you would offer then, especially on let's say, not just about technology consultancy, but also process and how really to approach innovation. So it's not just only about technology, it's also a lot about how I'm addressing the innovation. So of course, it shall be in the relation of digital innovation. If you are just looking on product enhancement of a food product, which has nothing to do with digital, well, then it's possibly not the most appropriate open calls. But however, if you are doing then and offering such a scheme to a lot of organizations and could really support a lot of, at the very end, innovation experiments, well, it's I would say my first feeling, my gut feeling would be, sounds reasonable.
Okay, thank you. So next one, can I submit proposal for the Prepare open call if I did not yet organize a hackathon under the Restart open call in order to foresee the development and preparation for an innovation experiment from the hackathon?
Yes, of course. You can straightforward submit a proposal if you did not if you were not involved before in another open call or Restart open call. And hackathon is not a prerequisite for that, because we also see that there are quite a lot of stakeholders which are very familiar with the challenges in the sectors and in the domains. And of course, you will be also eligible to straightforward, as your first proposal, submit a proposal to the Prepare open call.
Thank you, Harald. Next question from Bianca. Is the supply chain optimization considered as a competence center?
if a supply chain organization is considered as a competence center.
Is the supply chain optimization considered as a competence center?
Well, I think that is a very difficult question, and please excuse me that I cannot give you a yes or no. It's what our colleagues were also doing in SmartAgriHubs. They were developing the agri-technology navigator, really to facilitate, let's say, the identification of competencies. And please also have a look there on the SmartAgriHubs website. I think that is very difficult to say. It's not limited. If this is your question, it's not limited to a specific topic. There's not a predefined list of topics where a competence is limited to. What we want really to offer there is real core competency, that we can identify a network of organizations which really have unique knowledge on a certain or unique competency in a certain field. That is the basic or underlying motivation to talk about competence centers. Therefore, of course, also if from the topic, this might be reasonable. The question is it really a competence center? This I cannot assess. If there's real unique competency on those topics, and which is not just common sense, of course, why not?
Thank you. Yeah, it was actually a hard one. So last question, and then I think we will end up the webinar. Is a research institute or university eligible for the Prepare Open Call?
As I said before, and thank you very much for the question, and that's really a good one to clarify that. It's about a call for digital innovation hubs. And digital innovation hub is a role. Therefore, if you as a research institute or a university are offering innovation services in the role as digital innovation hub, you're very welcome to submit a proposal. That's more or less the background. And if you have also, let's say, the idea, yes, I want to be a digital innovation hub and I want to offer such services. If you're just saying, oh yeah, no, digital innovation hub, but well, I'm just writing there now digital innovation hub. No, it's and that is also then the question we are asking the external experts evaluating the proposals. Is there any strategy of this organization to offer services as a digital innovation hub? So that is somehow the idea. And therefore, but from let's say the organization type, if you're saying you're a research institute, a university, if you're a consultancy company, if you're also possibly some production equipment manufacturer, could possibly also be a digital innovation hub. So if you're saying, yes, our innovation services are in relation to our products and we want to facilitate such innovation experiments also on the baseline of our products, why not? So if also technology providers could overtake the role as a digital innovation hub. It's about, and therefore I was putting the slide of the different innovation services, which are usually offered either several ones or all. So you need not to offer all, but usually a certain subset of those innovation services are expected that digital innovation hub is offering. So if you don't want to offer that, then please, no, it's not eligible. If this is also a pathway where you want to go, yes, you're very welcome.
Thank you very much, Harald. We don't have any more questions here, and we're already like 5 minutes over 3. So I think, yeah, we can wrap up this webinar. Thank you very much for your really nice slides and really good clarification on the open call. As we said, you can contact the SmartAgriHubs team on the forum innovation portal via email. And we will release this session on YouTube. So stay alert on social media. You will see our post later today or early tomorrow. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much for facilitating the meeting, Karim. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Goodbye to everybody. Thank you for joining.